Boy, we lit up our social media with the Center for Disease Control saying, think fungus. They had a fungus week, fungal awareness week. So I'm going to introduce you to that here on TV. But a month ago, a huge amount of people joined us and talked about the CDC kind of getting along with Know the Cause. Then, one thing is certain, as you age, 6-7 years ago I did this video, as you age, your risk gets higher. Drinking alcohol, eating grains, etc. So I'm going to introduce you to that in a roundabout way. I want to talk about breast milk as a cancer therapy. Do you think? Jenny is going to be here talking about toxic chemicals, green dip. We've got a great show in line for you today. Let's get started. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists. And soon you too will know the cause. You know, I remember 18 years ago, we sat down with business people and I said, I want to do a TV show. I've been doing radio, it's become a hit, it's become syndicated, and I want to teach people about fungus. You should have seen the faces on these people. Well, there's a good 6-month run. 17, 18 years later, here I am beating the same drum. Fungus can injure or kill a human being. Nobody supported me, folks, and all of a sudden, the Center for Disease Control steps out, takes the lead. I'm so proud of them. And they had an entire week dedicated to just thinking fungus. They came out with a 58-second clip, a video, Think Fungus. Watch this, and then I want to go through each step of it with you. Did that say, think fungus? Those two actors looking at each other, think fungus. Doctor, what's fungus? We don't know, but think it. Okay, now, I want to go through each step of that, and I'm being facetious. Look, someone has finally stepped out in a big way, a big organization, thousands of employees, the Center for Disease Control, scratched their big heads and said, I think Doug's right. Seriously, they don't know me. They don't know the cause. I fly under the radar with the show, right? But thank God someone is finally saying the fungus word. Let's dissect that. Common fungal diseases like, onychomycosis, nail fungus, ringworm, vaginal yeast infections. By the way, sidebar here, 20 years ago, did you know the name onychomycosis or nail fungus? Neither did your dermatologist. Doctors had no idea until Lamisil and Sporanox, two antifungal toenail drugs, came on the market. That was even a problem. It's like ADD. Is it really a problem? Well, there's 14 drugs for it. Then it's a problem. All of a sudden, we all have onychomycosis. If you'd put that back up, John, thank you. Other fungal diseases like valley fever caused by a fungus called Coccidio immitis and candidemia are less common, but they can kill you. Candidemia. You're thinking, what is candidemia? Candida albicans, right? Emia means bloodstream. Candida in your bloodstream. Folks that are catheterized in hospitals or even being in a hospital exposes you to germs that are on other floors, right? And those germs can become systemic. That means it gets in your bloodstream and it's tough to make go away. Did it say serious illness and even death caused by Candida albicans once in your bloodstream? What is diflucan? I don't think the hospitals know this very well. What is diflucan? It's a 30-year-old drug that was invented to be an AIDS drug, and then Pfizer, the company that makes it, got approved to call it the one-pill vaginal yeast cure. It's a systemic antifungal. Vaginal yeast ends up in a target organ, but it responds favorably to an antifungal drug. Okay, so what must a yeast infection, if it's in your ear, vaginal tract, kneecap, they're systemic diseases, right, that end up locally. Okay, now the next graphic said many fungal infections are caused by breathing in very small fungi from the environment or by touching surfaces. What is Gulf War syndrome? Did we not watch, every one of us in the 90s when George Bush said we're going to get them, did we not watch these huge helicopters land in the sand? And did we not see all those brave men and women standing there while the helicopters are landing? They're inhaling, and they're inhaling spores, okay? That fungus lives in sand. You disrupt that sand, and you can end up with a horrible disease. So many of our military heroes are sick or dead, living in hospitals, and their doctors don't know that a little diflucan could probably really help them. Once again, for the Center for Disease Control, an organization that has gone on record as saying, oh, indoor mold can cause little sniffles, little itchy skin, little dribbling nose. To say that it can really injure you, this is huge, folks. It's almost like they've outproduced themselves. They've gone 20 steps beyond, not one at a time. The next line I thought was amazing. Serious fungal infections are more likely developed in weakened immune system patients, such as those with cancer, HIV, AIDS, transplant recipients, and look at the next two words. Hospital patients, and then are those taking certain medications. Guys, just another reason to stay well and stay out of a hospital. How many people are not taking medications in a hospital? And I'm including the doctors and nurses. My guess is all people that walk into hospitals are on medications. If you're taking certain medications or you're in a hospital, you're exposing yourself to risk. And that's what that says. Fungal infections are, quite prominent in people who have serious disease. Let me teach you one more thing. Fungi themselves, well, I'll get to that in a moment. Fungi themselves depress your immune system. They make poisons that depress your immune system, over half of them. Okay, now let's put up that next graphic. Fungal diseases are often not diagnosed right away. That's all I need to say, because their symptoms are similar to those of other diseases. No, other diseases mimic fungus. Earlier diagnosis and treatment can save lives. We've been hearing that about early cancer detection. Where'd that get us? What is the PSA test? Did you know the mammogram is 58% accurate? Did you know that? A coin flip is 50, so 58% accurate. Where did that get us? Now they're saying early diagnosis of fungal diseases. I think that's brilliant. But this next graphic kind of shows you one of the problems. If you have symptoms that don't get better, your doctor has had you on medications for years and years, what they want you to do, the CDC, is talk to your doctor about the possibility of a fungal infection. Do you want a blank stare? Talk to a physician who didn't learn this in medical school and who reveres his educators in medical school about fungus. No, I've had you on 12 antibiotics. I think we need to try a 13th. They know bacteria. No, Zovirax didn't work for that little herpes. I want to try 3 more antivirals. They know about virus. Talk to your doctor about fungus? This from the organization that says sniffles are what happens when we're exposed to fungus. Now, mind you, they've taken a huge leap forward. I am thrilled. I always love to see people get it right. Center for Disease Control, you've got it right. Here's the problem. Our doctors aren't educated in fungus at all. So what I've done, I think you're going to like this, on our website, Doctor's Fungal Protocol, click it and print it out. Take it to your physician. I've referenced the scientific literature that he or she may have read. I've told him or her how to prescribe diflucan or nystatin. I taught a lot of doctors to do this historically. I mean, probably hundreds of doctors how to prescribe antifungal drugs. And then I've even taught him or her to recommend a certain diet that would literally starve fungus from creeping through your bloodstream and your body. They've gone a big step. And I have too. Print this off, take it to your doctor, and they may do this and throw it in the trash can, or maybe you're one of the lucky ones that has an open-minded physician who realized their graduate degree from medical school was a starting point, not a stopping point. Maybe they're going to look at that and say, okay, this is probably right. I haven't fixed that itch. I haven't fixed that tummy problem. I haven't fixed that tumor on the side of your neck for years. Let's try something different. Finally, the Center for Disease Control comes clean and says fungus and fungal infections are a huge deal. They're just short of saying, we want to start watching, know the cause. Thanks for being with me. I love these throwback segments because I get to see what I look like with dark hair. It was about 6 years ago I talked about the relative risk in our lives, right? When we're young, we're invincible. As we get older, the risk gets higher. Watch this. So what motivates you to try a program like ours? You're young, 25, 26 years old, your weight is perfect. When there's little motivation, there's also little risk. So you can walk across this on the ground without any risk. Here I am, young, healthy. I can go to the doctor, go on antibiotics, drink a couple of beers, eat bread and corn and these things. And there's not a whole lot of motivation because there's not a whole lot of risk. I'm young, I'm invincible, I'm going to go on forever. But what happens when you get 50 years old and arthritis sets in and you find yourself 75 pounds overweight? The motivation goes up, but so does the risk. Okay, so all those years of a beer here, a glass of wine there, I wasn't really worried, I was invincible. All of a sudden you're finding yourself overweight, arthritis. You know, a lot of these mycotoxins and these fungi impose disease onto us. So the motivation is still there. You want to get to this end, you want to feel better. But right now you're relying on doctors and pills and medicines. What about the old self-motivated person you used to be? So, of course, my motivation is the same, but the risk is now much higher. You know, you could fall, you could injure yourself on this. If I fell down, I'd hurt my ankle, and then I'd have to go back to the doctor. So know that the motivation is always going to be there as you age. It's just the risk that gets higher and higher and higher. You were invincible back here, weren't you? There was no problem back when you were in your 20s, and you said the same thing I said and everybody says. What's wrong with a beer? What's wrong with a couple rounds of antibiotics? What's wrong with a little popcorn? We were all invincible, but now you're 70, you're 65, 70, 75 years old, and the motivation is still there because you just exited the doctor's office and he said you have cancer, or this heart condition is irreversible, or your hands and your legs are now going to be crippled with some disease. You know what? You want to go back to when you were 20, 25 years old walking the invincible plank, but you can't. You're still motivated. Doug, now I want to try that diet. It's going to be a little harder, but I'm willing to do it. Now I want to start those supplements I see advertised on your show. You know what? The motivation is even higher now. But look what happened to the risk. Who's going to walk across that plank? Someone who is totally motivated and who wished they would have at 25, 30, 40 years old, maybe not taken all of those drugs that the doctors prescribed, maybe not drunk all of that alcohol, or maybe checked grains in their diet. Don't worry, you'll still get there. Might just be a little harder now. That's fun looking at me back then. The whole point of that, of course, is take fewer risks, fewer alcohol, fewer corn, fewer grain when you're young, and the bar won't be so high as you get older, making it safer to cross. Okay, we're going to go to a break, and then I'm going to be talking about breast milk as a potential cancer treatment. Here we go. You know, in the next couple of minutes, I want to talk with you. Pharmaceutical companies are trying desperately, and research around the world, trying desperately to find a treatment for cancer that actually works. They're also trying to find new antibiotics. Folks, we've blown the old ones. We abused them. We gave them to everybody like they were candy. And of course, they came back to snap us. So now we need a whole class of antifungals, antibiotics, and so forth. Wouldn't it be neat if there was one and the same? I'll never forget when my kids were small, one of them got an ear infection, so we took him to the doctor out in Santa Monica, California. And this was a doctor like no others. He was a friend of mine, he jogged with me and so forth. And he said, got to tell you, Doug, what I would do. Ruth is breastfeeding. Bend down, drop 3 drops of breast milk into his ear. He'll be fine. How does that work? I said, there are white blood cells, millions of them, in breast milk. White blood cells gobble up fungus or bacteria, whatever it is. It made total sense to me, although I never saw white blood cells. So I want to teach you something. Here, this is a brand new slide, a brand new, I shouldn't say slide, a brand new graphic. Could breast milk be the next cancer treatment? This is exciting, but it's not only cancer. So in Sweden, they've discovered that they were looking for a new antibiotic, right? They mixed human cancer cells with breast milk, and the cancer cells died. Their discovery was a serendipitous discovery. They were beginning to research using breast milk on bowel and cervical cancer. Okay, can you imagine? You had to mix human cells with something you wanted to kill the bacteria with, right? They chose breast milk. So they take cancer cells, which are human cells, and they wanted to see if they had any antibacterial property. Lo and behold, they killed the cancer cells. Okay, what does that mean? What is it in breast milk that's that good? In 2012, about 5 years ago, lactoferrin, of course, is a protein in mom's milk. It binds iron, very important protein. 2012 Biochemistry and Cell Biology article stated that lactoferrin, are you ready, has antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and anti-cancer properties. Yeah, there are supplements, lactoferrin supplements. But most importantly, folks, you're wise. This audience is amazing. You're thinking, wait a minute, boy, I'm glad I breastfed all my kids. Gave them a good start, right? A lot of mothers couldn't or didn't for one reason or another. When I was a kid, that's when all these companies came along to formulate mother's milk-like material that they gave to their child. I was one of those children. I think mom probably breastfed me for a couple of days and then boom, on to all the other products I went. The important take-home message here is this. If breast milk has antifungal and anti-cancer qualities, am I right that fungus is a cancer? Fungus, antifungal, anti-cancer properties, and antiviral and anti-everything. God didn't make breast milk wrong, right? It's what the doctors used to tell 50, 60, 70 years ago. Mothers, you don't need to breastfeed. That's an inconvenience. Just give them this bottled stuff, okay? Start your kids out right. Breastfeeding is very, very important. And now this slide, this just came out of Vanderbilt University. Sugars in human mother's milk are a new class of antibacterial agents. They will stop at nothing to package breast milk and sell it to you. Vanderbilt University researchers have discovered that mother's milk does not only provide nutrition for a baby, but also helps protect the baby from bacterial infections. You see how archaic that recent research is. Because 5 years ago, researchers in other places in the world had discovered an antibiotic is nothing. I mean, breast milk acts as an antibiotic, and I discovered it 35 years ago when my kids were small, thanks to a wonderful pediatrician who's still in practice in Los Angeles, okay? But now you get it. You get the huge picture. It's antifungal also. Okay, if your baby has a skin problem like eczema, if your baby's got a diaper rash or something that doesn't get better, breast milk may be better than all the salves and everything in the pharmacy, can work very, very well. And now if they got a sinus problem and they're crying, that it's okay to drop a drop of breast milk or two in his eye, in his nose, in his ear, in his throat. He's drinking the stuff, right? Now we know. We know that breast milk, nature, God has provided a way to protect our babies against fungal, viral, bacterial, and even cancer diseases. And now what's science saying? Let's take breast milk from the La Leche League, a wonderful league of women, from the La Leche League, start making antibiotics out of it since we screwed up all the other antibiotics, and start selling it to mothers and fathers and their babies. So now nature has provided the best antimicrobial in the world. Thank you, God. Okay, Nurse Jenny now talks about toxic chemicals, and then let's do something fun, maybe a green dip recipe. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jenny Herbacek with the Cancer Connection. It has become a reality that modern day life has surrounded us with toxic chemicals, and one of those sources is your mattress. We spend about a third of our life sleeping, so changing to an organic mattress can deliver a powerful punch. Have you ever considered what you might be inhaling during that period of time where your body is trying to rest and rejuvenate? Non-organic mattresses are constructed with strong chemicals to meet the present flame retardant standards. But organic mattress manufacturers are able to meet flame retardant standards without those dangerous chemicals. So do a little research and look for the Global Organic Textile Standard seal. For Know the Cause, I'm Jenny Herbacek.
Here's a quick appetizer that you can serve. It's fun. It's called green dip with veggie sticks. It's considered phase 2 because some of the dairy that we use. Let's begin with the dip. 1/3 of a cup of parsley leaves, 1/3 of a cup of fresh dill, 1/3 of a cup of tarragon leaves, 1/3 cup of chives, and pulse until they're all blended well. Juice 1/2 of a lemon, 1 clove of garlic smashed, 2 tablespoons of phase 1 mayonnaise on the Kaufman diet, and that's on our website, 1/2 a cup of organic Greek yogurt, 1/2 cup of sour cream, 1/3 of a cup of goat cheese, and then salt and pepper to taste. Process until blended. Now you'll serve these in cups with dip on the bottom and the veggies on top. Now the veggies. Be creative. Use veggies as you'd like, but we'll teach you how to arrange them. Green beans that are blanched, carrot sticks, red bell pepper strips, green spring onions, I love those, cucumber, cherry tomatoes on toothpicks. This and a lot of other recipes can all be found on knowthecause.com.
I'm sure you've heard about the BMI or body mass index. You might even have an app on your phone to help you calculate you or all of your friends' BMIs. In case you haven't, it's the standard for weight assessment these days, but it's far from the best one. And to boot, it isn't always accurate. First, it doesn't tell you anything about your body composition. People who are carrying around a lot more fat than they should be, but whose weights are relatively low, will still have BMIs that fall well within the healthy, normal range. This is known as normal weight obesity, better known as skinny fat. While many of you may want to be skinny fat, this is an extremely common and potentially deadly phenomenon. Get this, 1 in every 5 men and 1 in every 3 women fall into this category. Skinny fat women have a 57% higher risk of dying from heart-related events in the next decade of their lives. Skinny fat men also face a higher overall death risk than their leaner friends. So yet another myth shattered on Know the Cause. I'm Dr. Fred Pescatore, and the doctor is in.
Can you imagine the guys at the CDC, Center for Disease Control, high-fiving? Man, we know Doug Kaufman. That's what we're doing around here. The CDC doesn't know us, but we're very, very pleased that they're becoming FUPO heads. Fungus until proven otherwise. Can you see their little badges? FUPO 1 for a boss, FUPO 3 for an underling. I mean, it's amazing, folks, that the world is starting to see fungus as a germ that can hurt us. It's always been bacteria, it's always been virus, it's never been fungus, but now the big boys talk about fungus as injuring us. Thanks for being with me today. Tell a friend about Know the Cause. Watch my live show each Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. on Know the Cause Facebook. See you next time. God bless. Bye-bye.